Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Tuesday, August 9th. In this episode, United are back at being shit. Liverpool do the clop flop and Haaland and City announce themselves. But first, Mike, are you okay? And on a hyperbolic scale of 1 to a billion, how are you feeling about Spurs?
Wow. Yeah, a lot to unpack there. To answer the first question, after 10 days of California and drinking with some of my best friends, and congratulating one of them on being married to his new beautiful wife, I am just doing the best I can. I am struggling. I caught a handful of matches this weekend. I'll tell you right now, that whole California Pacific time zone thing, not friendly, not compatible with the Premier League. Let me tell you that. The good news is, though, that because I was drinking and eating so much with my degenerate friends, that I had to get up and take a shit at 5 a.m., which was great. I got to watch most of the Liverpool match because of that.
Awful.
So that was awesome.
That's a TMI. Angela, we didn't need to hear that from Mike. We're happy that you were at the show.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's where the line is.
Yeah, and happy that you were at the San Diego Loyal game. San Diego Loyal, 4 points behind San Antonio. We're coming for you. We're going to be top of the league. We're going
to win the league. But yeah, as far as how I feel about Spurs, holy moly. Well, actually, it was very, very, you've almost got, now you have a vintage Conte performance, right? And that was one of them, because what happened first? You conceded. Like they're still there. Conte is dragging us through the mud that we have built and maintained for 15 years now almost. But he is the man who can, I think, bring us out of it. This is where the delusion starts. Get ready, everybody. But no, I think it was just funny, right? It's like I said.
But to be fair, it was our friend, our favorite Southampton player, JWP.
What a magnificent finish.
What a man. I drafted him. He's on our team. I was happy he got the goal. He did the celebration. And I was like, all right, they are there. But then I think Southampton are Southampton. They're young. They're naive. They have Hasenhüttl. They're not good. And one of the sons that I may have to disown, not Stuart Armstrong. Yeah, I think it's Stuart Armstrong, who they got from the championship the year before, and he had scored like 25 goals. Yeah. I didn't realize the reason he scored all those goals is because Harvey Elliott was setting him up.
I see.
And they both left Blackburn, and now Armstrong is terrible, and he was the guy who was supposed to replace Ings. And I don't know why Hasenhüttl doesn't play Che Adams. I feel like he's
bad.
Yeah, but they're both bad. Like they're really bad. They're all bad.
Che Adams, he didn't.
And is Livramento dead?
He didn't. He is, by the way. He's working on it though. I actually read something about him. The thing about Che Adams is that he doesn't lead the league in big chances missed in the last 2 years, because I've looked many times to be like, how the fuck could anybody miss more chances than him? But that's exactly it. Right, because
he doesn't even get them.
Right. Well, no, that's the thing. It's like percentage of chances missed. I can't confirm, but I feel like he would definitely be number one.
And then it's the reason why you're like, Nathan Redmond is like 430, and why does he play? Because he has to.
Because they have nobody else.
Right. So Southampton are not the story here. JWP does it. It's really Spurs and Kulusevski. As much as Kane and it's the Harry Kane team, and Son has now put himself, if not as the number 2 or 1A or 1B.
Yeah, I'd say a golden boot and being friends with Tom Haaland puts you 1A, right? But but what happens when you have a for lack of a better term, Batman and Robin over here is that nobody's paying attention to the right side of the field. Kulusevski is the perfect man to create that threesome. Look, when Bale was there and when he was playing, he had the most goals or the lowest goals per minute in the Premier League that season. Yeah. The whatever the fuck 2021 season. So, I'm not surprised. At this point, I'm not surprised. When he started doing this last year, we're like, holy shit, this kid's great. Now, and it's similar to when Sonny started to really rise among, the quality in the Premier League alongside Kane. You're like, oh, wow, yeah, this guy's fantastic. And all that does, and you see it with the top sides, you see it with Liverpool and City, you can't key on one guy. One guy's not going to beat you because somebody else will.
Yeah. And I'm going to go to the scores, and then we'll go through everything else. We'll go through the scores and loop back around. But how much put the time on the clock?
All right. Bing.
All right. Fulham start the day. 2-2 draw with Liverpool. They take the lead twice, but Liverpool pull it back. Mitrovic with 2 goals, and he bullies Trent Alexander-Arnold on a header and does Van Dijk to draw the penalty. Fantastic stuff. Our friends at Aston Villa get beat by Bournemouth 2-0 on 2 set-piece goals. The smell on Gerrard is getting stinky. The Team America, USA. United defeat Wolves 2-1. A nice goal by your boys Neto and Podence, but Leeds pull it out. Aronson looking strong.
How long until we can call them America United?
Soon. Because no, you can't actually use that term because it's not real. They're as we're potting, Mar-a-Lago is being invaded by the FBI. It's pretty amazing. Newcastle.
That's the reason,
right? Newcastle 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Nottingham Forest are in trouble. They've had to redo their whole team. We should look for them in the back half because I think Steve Cooper's a good coach. The aforementioned Tottenham defeat Southampton. Fantastic. Everton 0, Chelsea 1. Everton do the bus thing. This time it doesn't work. They have no players, and a guy broke his own leg. Manchester United on the Sunday games. United 1, Brighton 2. I said a draw. No, did I even think Brighton could win this game? I wanted to give United more credit. I shouldn't have. Oh, amazing game. Pascual Gross with 2 goals. Leicester 2, Brentford 2. Leicester picking up where they left off, taking big leads, losing on set pieces. Brentford draw. They look like they're nailed on to stay in the league. And then Manchester City in a snoozer, for as much as City can be a snoozer, the 2 moments from Haaland win 2-0 away at West Ham. And I think Kurt Zuma's cat.
That was great. I saw that clip. There
so
was
those
a couple
are the
of
scores.
clubs. Yeah, there were a couple of clubs. We're going to start right there. I want to go to United, but we have to keep going from last season with Kurt Zuma's cat. For those who don't know, he beat the living shit out of a poor kid.
A cat twice.
Yeah. A kitten. Horrible. It's on video. It's just gruesome. And it's funny because there are many people in the world who don't like cats. I am one of them. But when I saw that video, everyone had the same unique reaction, I think. And mine was, get the bastard. Just fucking hurt him, right? Like, something bad needs to happen to this guy now.
And it did.
And so now, right. And so now, anytime he's got a knock or he's got a slight injury or whatever, which the opposing fans will always cheer, that's how your cat felt. And it's fantastic every time.
So Zuma, that's how your cat felt. That was after That was after Erling Haaland just annihilated him. But I want to start with United.
Yes.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. This punter, whatever I am, got a lot of mileage out of Ole, and then we got a lot of mileage out of the Schadenfreude of the new coach who didn't do much either. And now we have Ten Hag. I'm starting to think that United just aren't good at all.
Yeah.
They're just bad.
We have to go all the way back to last season when we both had them pretty high in our predictions.
Yeah, we really liked what happened there.
Yeah. And you had them in the top 4. I had them just outside, but certainly not to where they were. And then go back to March when we were like, they're going to be cruising in the top 4 race. We were wrong twice, as many, many, many others were. But what we kept saying, if you go back and you listen to the older shows, the archives in season 2, that they were just a good coach away. They have all the talent, all the pieces everywhere. And maybe that is true. And maybe that is still true. But man.
Yeah, it's unreal.
It's tough. I think big job for this coach to come in and do.
Yeah, I think the thing was, and I had Brighton for the draw. Little did I realize Brighton have never won in the city of Manchester. They did. This is their first win in Manchester ever. But I thought, Potter, new team, the Cristiano thing, no Martial, all these things that came up. But it was still the same kind of weird defending. Basically, United were good for the first 5 to 10 minutes. Bruno, if he takes his chance, there's a chase down on the wing, a cross into him that he just flubs. I believe it was it Dallo? I don't know who's out there for United, but a shot that Bruno would have scored when he had more confidence, and he blazes it over. They have a couple chances early, and then Brighton do their thing. They start taking the ball. They start doing their thing. United essentially just, crisscrossing, like center backs crisscrossing to defend. Like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. Lisandro Martinez really he's short. He looks small. Like you see him and you're like, wait a minute. Now I thought, maybe he's 5'9", but he's stocky.
What if he showed up to
He's tiny.
Because he played for Ajax, but what if he showed up at United and it was just him sitting on somebody's shoulders in a trench coat signing the contract?
Oh, like a master blaster?
Yeah, well, like Vincent Adultman in BoJack. Right?
Yeah, so
that's clearly just 3 kids in a trench coat. Like
that was bad, and Gross scores the 2 goals. Danny Welbeck, it was turn back the clock night. He looked like, what's a good movement striker that you go? He had a Danny Ings quality, like, where the fuck is he going? He's doing everything. They're pressing Fred. The McFred, Tomine thing, they both can't pass. United can't get anything going. Second half, they're better because, little did you know, your boy Eriksen was playing in the false 9 because they have no strikers, which is weird. Mm-hmm. When Eriksen is just like, enough of this bullshit. I'm taking this game into my own hands. He drops deep, and all of a sudden they have a Pirlo. Yeah. And he starts popping things around, and Rashford takes a couple shots. And Brighton aren't great. This is, the thing about Brighton is they're not that good.
And by the way, this is a club who just sold their 2 most valuable players.
They sold $150 million worth of players over the last 2 years.
Right.
White, Basuma, and Cucurella. Cucurella they had for a year, and they just made $70 million on him. Boom. No problem. Yep. And his hair was the extra money because,
sure,
but see how that was going.
When we're sitting here thinking about this game before, in the lead into the weekend, you go, United are on the up. They've got the Ronaldo mess and whatever, but I really am interested in the smoke that's coming out of the camp, right?
Nothing.
I think it'll be good. And also, even if it's not at its best, which is perfectly fine, Brighton is they're a cart with 2 wheels right now. Like they're losing stuff as they go, right? They're dropping water all the way down the street.
Great coach.
I cannot. Well, no, Graham Potter is a fantastic coach.
They got dominated by Danny Welbeck and Adam Lallana.
It's not good.
Okay? Danny Welbeck and Adam Lallana. 2 guys
10 years ago, you probably
in their day were players that played at high levels. Welbeck at United when he was a teenager and in his early 20s. Then he had a good stint at Arsenal. Then he just couldn't seem to be healthy. Always a runner, always willing, a winning player, but a shit finisher. And I mean, he makes Raheem Sterling look like,
Haaland.
Makes him look like Lewandowski. Like, he's just not a good finisher. And then Lallana embodied early Klopp. Like, Klopp really liked him and appreciated that he did all the pressing, but he was like, but he always got injured too. But they're still there. They're still doing all that stuff. And they just beat them. Like, no problem. It was easy. So United in crisis already. I think the thing is, and I haven't said this yet, so maybe this is a drinking moment. It's a weak link sport. And United have 2 weak links, Fred and McTominay. And it causes them, no matter how much... Right, and they're right next to each other, right? No matter how much money they spend in the front, you can't get the ball to them.
It's the Chelsea problem. It's what I've said for
Except Chelsea are the other way around, right? The Chelsea has good guys in that spot.
Now.
But then, yeah.
Well, not even, no, because they've lost 17. I've said multiple windows that Chelsea continue to buy, and they're not even, Lukaku.
They buy the wrong guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but Werner wasn't ever really a striker. He was that converted, really fast striker that they just like.
He's one of those off the left
play in the middle, right?
Yeah, he's like a better version of Bowen.
Right. Lukaku, sort of the same thing, right? He always was a striker, but he had winger speed and tendencies and mentality, right? So, So Havertz now, Pulisic, Ziyech is still there. All these guys they brought in the last 3 years. What would you say you're doing here, guys? Because I'll tell you what, Tiago Silva is still a very good center back, but he moves about as fast as I do.
He was going to get got, and they just made a mistake because Everton aren't good enough.
No.
So then we have the other contenders. So we have United with a bad midfield who basically break their system. Liverpool's midfield was creaky. They had these games where Liverpool just don't do their thing. They're in Fulham. Fulham are fighting. The fighting Fulhams play really well. They're in the midfield's face. And it's one of those games where you're watching Liverpool and you're like, all right. And I know Liverpool fans know this, and I've watched them because they drive me fucking insane. I want to keep everyone in mind. This is not to kill Liverpool. They are undefeated in 2022. The year is almost over. Sort of. So they're a fantastic team. but they have these games where things don't work. At Anfield, they find a way. On the road is where they get these draws where you're like, oh, they still have the fight. It's still there. They can still muck it up, but they had to bring on Nunez. They had to get things going. Trent Alexander-Arnold, whether he's the problem or not, whenever they give up goals, it's on his side because he's the weak link, right? That's fine. It's not to say that he's the worst defender or the worst fullback ever, but if you are going to score on Liverpool, it's going to be on Alexander-Arnold's side.
And let's dig a little bit deeper into that, okay? Because I don't want us to be okay. Well, we are. We hate Liverpool. It's not the point.
I don't hate them. Yeah,
but that's not the point. Even if we did, we respect the shit out of them. Okay, so the point still is this: if I am playing Liverpool, I have to come up with some kind of a game plan against
anything.
Liverpool.
That's not nothing.
If I deem Trent Alexander-Arnold to be the weakest link in the Liverpool side, it's like everything has a best and everything has a worst, technically, right? Yeah. So theoretically, if I'm trying to build an attacking strategy to go after Liverpool to get points, regardless of where the fucking game is played, I am probably going to say, seems like he's a little suspect down the right wing. We should go with a left-sided attack, right? Yeah. It just feels like it. So yes, Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to be the starter for England, even though there's a ton of really good right backs. He's got tremendous quality, but we've said it many times in the show. He can be a liability at the back sometimes.
Yeah, and then when you think, and then to juxtapose it is on the other side is the Van Dijk Robertson side, and nothing gets through there. That's like about as Fort Knox as a pair as there is, especially with Allison, who he's the best goalkeeper in the world. Like the dude fucking saves that team goals that you're just like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. So anyway, so we have Trent Alexander-Arnold gets done on a back post. Mitrovic just eats him and just swallows him whole because he's about a foot taller. Headers in, they're up a goal. Salah pulls one back. I'm pretty sure that's the events there. So, no, all through the first half, Fulham are playing well. Second half, the changes come in. Harvey Elliott comes in. Nunez come in. Who knew that James Milner needed to come in to completely change his team? Then Nunez gets the goal, a lucky bounce off of him. Then, in the 72nd minute, Fulham think they're going to win this thing. Mitrovic draws a penalty. He fucking does Van Dijk. He does the fucking Fred Flintstone twinkle toes. Van Dijk clips him because he's on his heels. It's the worst defending I've ever seen Van Dijk do. I don't know why
I've seen worse.
I don't know why he was backing off Mitrovic. What was he
I've seen worse, and it was against Harry Kane when he was on Southampton. It's not important. I just bring it up to my friends who like Liverpool all the fucking time. Anyway.
He literally has not been dribbled past in 2 years. So just to give you a sense of how good
it was more than 2 years ago. I believe it was 5. It's not important.
Exactly. So he does clip him. Mitrovic finishes it, takes it, does his crazy. He does the Michu dance, and Fulham look like they're flying. And then Salah links up with Nunez on a flicked ball. Liverpool are good. They get their draw. But seeing as we know that Liverpool and City are literally a point apart over 3 years, these 2 points, the way things have been, the way the pressure is, the way these two teams react to pressure and push each other, it's going to be that 95 points again. And Liverpool are going to go, these are the points we can't drop because City's not losing more than 4 games. City's not drawing more than 5 games. Liverpool's not losing. They lost 2 games last year and still didn't win the league. So it's so hyper. Like for these 2 teams, it's early, but this shit fucking matters, dude.
I totally understand going into this game. You, as a theoretical Liverpool supporter, go, these are 3 points we have to have.
In the bag, like just done.
What we have. Don't even think about it. But if you look at the performance,
it was bad.
Liverpool were lucky to get 1. Right?
Absolutely. Because Cordova Reed hit the post.
Right. And so I think that there is a way that, you can't win the league in August and September. You just can't. But you as fuck can lose the league in August and September, which I think is kind of what you're getting at. But so
it's not that. It's just that the points matter. They all for these 2 teams, winning the Premier League is fucking hard.
No, I understand. Try being another team. My thinking on this is not, I don't disagree with anything you said. What I'm saying is if I'm more concerned if I'm a Liverpool fan, and I get that it's the first game or whatever, Nunez didn't even start.
He will.
I'm more concerned.
They're done with Firmino. It's done.
Well, I mean, now, sure, but like
it's over.
There's going to be enough games that he'll get in anyway. But like, I think that there's more concern for me if I were a Liverpool fan with the performance than the result, right?
Yeah,
because the result was a bonus. You should have lost.
It just seemed out of nowhere. Like they were so good in the Community Shield. The fact that James Milner has to come on and gin this team up to be like, this is Liverpool. This is how we do shit is the problem. They're still probably a midfielder short.
Well, they're at least one now because Tiago's out again.
But he's always out. Like he just.
Well, that's kind of what we said, right?
Yeah.
And so
that Naby Keita-sized hole
this summer. When you look at what City did, bringing in Phillips. Phillips is, if they would have signed Grealish this summer and not last summer, it would make a lot more sense. In the same way that you said, oh, he's basically a soon-to-be Kevin De Bruyne replacement, right?
Or if it doesn't work, they'll ditch him.
Sure. But guess what? This is your Fernandinho replacement. He left. He came in. Nobody ever questioned it. It was great business.
Yeah.
But this is the war that City is signing up for. I don't know that Liverpool fully appreciates it, right? Because they go, oh, no, we're as good as City without question. Nobody's arguing that. You're as good as any team in the world. But guess what, Bucko? You have to do this every 3 days for 8 months. So
for years.
Well, for years, right. So
you literally have to go again.
You have to do it every 3 days for 8 months. You get 3 weeks off. They all fuck off to their countries for 2 months, and then they come back tired, fat, and out of shape, and then you got to go again. Right? And then
and Liverpool might be fine in a month, but because it really seems like, and this is exciting for someone like me who's a nerd and he's one of my sons. It is exciting to see that they are going to use Fabio Carvalho, who's 18 years old, who they got from Fulham on a regular basis. They need him. Like he may just be a guy, and Harvey Elliott, and we'll see what Klopp does with this. But for Liverpool, this is another one of these wake up calls, and I'm sure they're worried about it, and I'm sure they have concerns, and just like, damn, Trent Alexander-Arnold weak in the defense, not because he's a bad defender, he just is their weakest defender and makes them look really bad. And do they change the way they play? They probably don't have to. They only gave up 25 goals last year, and they still have Anfield. Anyway, but this has to be juxtaposed with where we're going next, which is my team putting to bed whatever sort of like, you weren't on the show, but Community Shield, City were a little disjointed. Haaland didn't seem right. But all this,
of course,
all the bullshit, and it was just like, hey, is this going to be a problem? It's not going to be a problem. City, again, invented a new way of playing. Pep is a fucking lunatic genius. I don't know what the fuck he did this time. But are you ready for this? This time, double inverted fullbacks.
I did say, I didn't watch the game, but I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
Double inverted fullbacks.
Like I thought it was
with Grealish and Foden way, way wide. They start crossing balls in like it's 1963, trying to get the ball onto Haaland, because now we have a giant striker. And then Gundogan and De Bruyne are just like wherever they want to go. They're just 2 8s flying around. But they basically do this thing in possession. It's like 2-2-4-5 against the front line. You're like this 2-2-5. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So it was super controlled, and I don't think that West Ham had a way. They were like, wait. You can't have you what? So they just kind of sat off and just didn't know what to do. And of course, Lee Dixon was doing his classic, you just need to go man for man for 5 minutes. I'm like, you think we don't have a plan for you guys going man for man for 5 minutes? We'll just run away from you, and you have to follow us, and then we'll blah, blah, blah. Right. So it was kind of a boring, methodical, very City game, and I think you know how these City games are. They just kind of bounce around and do their City thing. But then in the moments when Haaland takes off, it seemed like City didn't quite know which pass to make until they did. And that pass was this sort of short, down the side burst that Haaland goes. And you don't see it regularly. But when Haaland starts moving fast, he's really fucking fast. Like over a short distance, he takes off, draws a penalty after Fabianski got hurt. So Areola just brings him down. Not only does he draw the penalty, and this is different for City fans, we all know this, he took it and put it away, which is like, a guy with like a little big dick energy, which I like.
Oh, yeah. He does.
I like a big dick.
Look, I did not get to see any of this game. And I wish I hadn't talked over that wonderful soundbite that we would have used forever.
I like the big dick. I'll say it again.
There you go. I think I get annoyed when City get alleged of having these boring victories over lesser teams. West Ham is not one of those clubs. They're just not.
Nope.
I hate playing them. Okay.
City make teams look terrible.
And that should be the talking point. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I played hockey in high school and I had a coach grab me one time, not like, you were talking about penises, but like I had him pull me aside and say, listen, like a lot of my jokes and humor, and it's true in the show too, it's like self-deprecating. Right. And he used to be like, don't do that. At least not in front of other people, not in front of the coaches, because then if they're like, if he's making fun of him, like it kind of snowballs, and right. So like you kind of get yourself into these weird situations. You're easier to cut, basically, was the
Oh, I see.
So I kind of think about that in the terms of Manchester City. You shouldn't be like, it was a little methodical. It's like, no, we pulverize them into a fine fucking powder.
That is the word that Robbie Musto used on the NBC Sport 2 Robbie's podcast, that they were pulverized. Like they got put in a blender and they just hit pulverize for 60 minutes. They just didn't know what hit them. The ball was just bouncing around and they just had it. And it was 90 degrees. And City were like, you know what? We're going to do this when we're ready. And then there's a moment. The second that West Ham tried to attack, bing, bang, boom, steal the ball, De Bruyne in the midfield by himself, Haaland takes off. And when I say that motherfucker is fast as fuck, he was gone. He just made Aaron Cresswell look like he wasn't there, or Tyreek Mitchell, young defender, was playing on the wing, but all of West Ham's defenders were hurt. He just went past him. And not even like he's on the shoulder and needs to cheat. He's not even playing offside. He's just like, I'm going to stand in front of you. And when I'm ready to go, I'm gone.
Hey,
and then the thing that was so happy,
now.
the thing that I was so happy about is all I could think about was how often Sterling would make those runs and just miss with his chocolate leg. And he just puts it away. I'm like, oh God, this is so much better. Fuck. And it's through the middle. It's just different. It's just like center forward play that I haven't seen. You know how it is.
I know how it is.
The Sonny runs where Kane just puts it in, but the Sonny runs I feel like they're more in space rather than these sort of like laser beam through balls that are in the middle.
So basically what the difference, and there's an important distinction, is that Kane will drop deep, pick up the ball, but actually he'll look at Son and he'll go, pick up the ball and just throw it into an area, basically. Just
right. But they're kind of lofted. This was like a Kevin De Bruyne laser beam through the middle.
Yeah. If to make a football reference, if it was like a stop and stutter from a wide receiver where he just leaves the cornerback like, what the fuck? Where did he go? and Kane just throws it into an area and boom, touchdown, right? Basically every time. Whereas this is surgical precision. This should be in a medical journal.
The
right?
through ball, the thing is, it's the through ball that City used to have when Sané and Sterling were together. They kind of lost. They had it a little bit with Sterling, but it was the Sterling and Sané together that sort of made that work. But Haaland has the pace that Sané had, and it's a little bit different. It's about 20 yards off. It's more through the center. It's not on the wing where you kind of things have to happen, and it has that back post. This is Haaland through the middle, and they just figured it out. I think the clicking is already there. Mm-hmm. And then Haaland has an interview, which is great, where he's on Sky, and he's like, it was a bit shit. And they're like, language. So he did it. And then he was like, oh, shit, I forgot. It was I mean, the interview was terrible, but the fact that he said shit twice and the English were like, fruity language.
Oh, wait a minute. Are we going to get to stop complaining that City doesn't have a personality now?
Well, thank God. This is the thing. City do have a star. And I will say, I liked Foden was incredible. Grealish, I'm worried for him. Yeah. Maybe he'll get there eventually, but
well, look, he got a taste of the glitz and glam, and I think that I can confidently say that there is a direct lineation between Dele Alli's Instagram, I guess, sponsorships and his FOTMob rating, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
God, he was bad. He was bad in that Chelsea game. He came on for Everton. It's just like,
oh, he was really bad. Let's pivot to that because it was one.
You want to go to that, or you don't want to go to Arsenal? You don't ever want to talk about Arsenal?
I do. No, because I watched Arsenal and Chelsea the most this weekend.
Yeah,
because like I said, I didn't really have a whole lot of time.
Arsenal was good, man.
Arsenal. We'll start with Arsenal then. Yes, I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it at all.
So what I liked about the performance was Selhurst is tough. It's a motherfucker. And they went in there in the first 30 minutes and said, not today. Even though they didn't score very quickly. They really created a lot of shit. Martinelli hit the post on it. Like, had Jesus scored that goal, it would have been like a holy shit, something has happened. Like, he went through, twinkles through three guys, lays it off, it bounces to Martinelli, and he just flat misses it. But then he ends up setting up the goal for Martinelli anyway.
So that was a tremendous, but like, I think to your point, you're onto it, right? Like, was that they didn't really allow anything. So like that, for my money, that was one of the best performances at Selhurst Park that I've ever seen by an opposing
only
team.
For a half an hour, because they could have given up goals. I mean, like, Edouard, he missed one. Like, there was a cross that he just flat out missed.
Well, whereas
late in the first half.
Look, and I'd say it's one of the more intimidating, for whatever reason. I don't know. I've never been there, but more intimidating Premier League ground, just based on
it's fucking loud, dude.
When you're watching the game on TV with the results that usually come out of it against big sides.
There's a reason why they're on Monday night every week.
No, I know. But if you can reduce the amount of time that you have to deal with Selhurst Park for all intents and purposes from 90 minutes to 60 minutes, if we're saying that we had a good 30, right? Or whatever it is, you have Crystal Palace on the ropes then, because it's almost as if they feed off of that energy. And there was like something missing for them. And it was a symbiotic, like, well, if I'm not giving it to you, you're not going to, like, back and forth sort of thing. And then things they grow into the game a little bit more. But like, yeah, you're right. Like, it just, I didn't think about it until we were talking before the show. I was like, Jesus, yeah, they really did just neutralize Selhurst Park,
Yeah, and then I think, second half, they grew into it. It's typical Arsenal's young. But the thing that was good is that they were strong. And the other narrative out of this game is William Saliba looks like they've got their Van Dijk, their Diaz, their central defender that's just like, fuck, they've got a guy.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
And I think Gabriel and White were good last season, but now they have another one. And the thing that and I'm not going to short shift Saliba's performance. What I really liked out of this game was Ben White, a goofy-looking white center back dude. He was on Zaha. Zaha got nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, is he going to be out there? Because when he played for Leeds, he used to play in the midfield, and Arsenal got him to be on the ball. Is he going to be one of their fullbacks? A big 6'2" fullback?
I mean,
they'll find a way. Like, they'll play the three. They'll play wingbacks. Arsenal got a second goal because what's his face? I can't remember any of these goddamn names.
Saka?
Saka just fired a ball off Gahey. I mean, it was a laser beam.
Oh, that's right.
Let's see if we can get this in. He almost knocked him out. Tried to kill him. Although, by the way, our friend Zuma did almost get killed by a shot from Haaland. He took it in the face, like out cold.
It's fantastic.
So Arsenal do get their win. We'll see where they are, but this is like another thing. This is that thing that we've been talking about. Is just the growth. And I want to do that step back that we do. It's just like one of the things, and I think it's forgotten and it's lost of as we think about American sports, how we just fucking reload the dice. There's no go again, except a little bit in basketball. But then like teams fail and the guys all jump ship. You were seeing it with Durant. But the fact that you have to build, Arsenal's been on this project. Arteta's been now like year 3. He's got his guys. He had to deal with Aubameyang. The team's all young. They stripped it down to the bolts. Lacazette's gone. All the Wenger guys are gone, except for Xhaka somehow. I don't know how the fuck that guy's still there.
And Pepe's still on the bench.
Yeah, but they are building something, and it is happening, and it takes years. Or with Spurs, there was a build-up with Pochettino. You had the bad window, and that you could almost see it in the moment, even though the decline wasn't at that season.
Oh, no. You could see it in the moment. No, we were all there like, guys, we're second place. What the fuck? City's not even good right now. What?
Let's fucking go.
August 8th.
Yeah,
August
so
8th.
they don't reload, and then they fall on the downside. And now the same players, the core is still there. It's still Dyer. It's still Kane. It's still Son 4 years later. But now the investment has come in, and they've reloaded, And now it looks like Spurs is on the up with the same group, really the same core of Lloris, Dyer, Kane. Yeah, they just needed a new midfield, really.
Right. So I think there are more similarities between what you just described in American sports. Not basketball being probably the outlier here, but I'll go to hockey.
But you have it if the teams are done right, but not as much as
by going to the done right, though, you start in a completely different place. You trade everything. You tank. You suck so that you can get what you hope is one wonder kid in 2 to 3 years in the top 5.
Sucks.
So no, the early creations of it and the Rangers, for instance, right? Like they had a couple of young players, the draft come all the way through, smart scouting, and then you go, hey, we're in Manchester, Artemi Panarin, come here for all of the money in the world, right? So there's ways to do that, but you're still sort of hamstrung. I think the important thing that's similar at the top is that I think of it like a conveyor belt, right? Like
you have to reload as you're going.
Yes, but you still have to sort of wait your turn, and it very well may never come. And I'll give you an example of that.
Oh yeah, it'll never come. Teams,
right?
Yeah, never.
Tottenham were like, hey, City and all American sports, the conveyor belt analogy works because you work it until you just can't, and the salary cap eats you alive, and then you're back at the
But
bottom,
thankfully,
right?
but what I'm saying is we don't have a salary cap.
Yes,
you can just
go. Still go through cycles. City and Chelsea both simultaneously were like, oh shit, and they fell off, right? And so Spurs were like, oh my goodness.
Well, you also had Arsenal. You had a lot going on.
We are. And then on the outside rail, this fucking runaway train called Leicester City comes flying in. But theoretically, that is theirs to lose, and they lost it. But like, I think that's sort of how the conveyor belt works in the Premier League. If you don't continue to reload, like you said, then you're fucked in wherever you're always going to be. We say this almost every show. It's the early 2000s American League. It's the Yankees and Red Sox going back and forth, and it forces the A's and the Twins and the Mariners and whoever else to get their shit in gear, right?
Well, what I think is interesting about the whole era right now is like that United are so poor. There's this Dallas Cowboys here spending money year upon year upon year, fucking up year upon year upon year. I mean, when I see a United fan go, "Oh, you City spend money," I'm like,
you guys fucking.
Okay.
No, I mean, listen, there are many shades of delusional out there.
Yeah.
The United fan who doesn't think or gets to cry poverty because of City's
it's just laughable.
Oh, by the way, City's net spend this summer, Laurent,
this summer has been good.
Yeah. Well, but it's like plus 100.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Well, not Cucurella.
No, we didn't have to spend on Cucurella. It's even better.
No.
Yeah. So, by the way, they got fleeced. We can go to Chelsea from here. Cucurella and Chelsea played Everton. Everton did the blue bus meetup. They did the whole thing. They went for the full thing. Everton. They did the whole thing, and they're in relegation fight mode with no striker. They only gave up the one goal, and I don't think Chelsea really created anything, to be fair. I watched that game.
So they gave up the one goal.
And Decore was just like, please give me a penalty. I did this before. I'm going to do it again. Like, what are you doing, dude?
So first of all, there's 8 minutes of stoppage time.
Because a guy broke his own fucking leg.
Yep, which was gruesome, and I don't even want to. But like
because Pickford got his fucking leg broken, let the ball go out. What are you doing?
Yeah. So when you see there's that much extra time, you're like, there's gonna be a goal in extra time, and then you see like, what do you know? Chelsea got a penalty. How about that? Right on the stroke of halftime there. But and it was funny because, for less funny reasons, or I suppose equally funny reasons, there was a long stoppage into the second half because, unfortunately, a fan they stopped the game for a fan.
I got sick. That's weird.
Strangely, again, it's so weird. I don't. Anyway, but I saw every second of that second half as when I tuned into it, and I just was marveling at the disinterest that Chelsea had in winning the game, which was matched only or bettered only by Everton's. They didn't give a fuck. That game was awful to watch. It was terrible.
Yeah, really, really bad.
Really bad. I was talking to friends who were Chelsea fans, and I was like, look, you can say bad things about your team. It's okay. You don't have to be a happy clapper. Let's be very clear about something. Everton are awful, and you guys don't have any interest in being here.
I do want to shout out one player for Everton, and it's weird to say it, but Alex Iwobi is really good.
Oh, I thought you were going to go Anthony Gordon.
Well, Gordon we know, but Iwobi was the one that if you sort of think about United not having a guy to stitch things together, Iwobi's always stitching shit together. He doesn't mind. He'll get on the ball and he'll pass it out. The fact that, this team is bad or whatever, and McNeil and Anthony Gordon, they didn't have a striker or whatever, but I really watched him in the first half, and I was very impressed with Anthony with Iwobi. And then the other thing that was impressive, and I thought about in this game in the context of how great teams collect players, and when you take a player out of that great team, what they look like. On the flip side, we know what Grealish looked like on Villa, but now we're seeing Raheem Sterling in Chelsea, and I was like, yeah, he can do a lot of stuff.
You have to take. With obvious exclusions for probably De Bruyne and Diaz alone, you have to take 10% of the value of any player on that team, at least, if you're going to sign him. You can't overpay for Raheem Sterling. You just fucking can't.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is like seeing Raheem Sterling in the context of Chelsea, you're going to get so much more out of him. Because so I wrote this to a friend. I'm going to see if this works with you. These guys are incredible solo artists, like jazz players who can do all this shit. But when you're on Manchester City, it's like, play that one note. You're in the orchestra. I'll point at you. The guy's $1 billion player. And he just goes, like, my God.
Oh, I see.
When you're on Chelsea, he can do lots of stuff, right? So Grealish, when he was on Aston Villa, could do all this stuff. On City, it's like, we stop doing all that stuff. Just get the ball, get fouled, get the ball, attack. Stop standing there and waiting to be fouled. So with Chelsea, all I saw from Raheem was like, he's 15 yards lower. I mean, he drops deep 15 yards. He's taking the ball and going, which is so different, because normally on City, he just had to make the runs and wait for the ball to come. But now he's dropping in, doing stuff. And he could have scored a goal, except some Ukrainian flag.
Oh, Mikolenko.
That one. He blocked it off the line.
Yeah.
Although Raheem, of course, didn't finish, which is totally
okay. So you're saying the opposite of what I said.
Yes, I'm saying the opposite. Yes.
Yeah.
Because look at Jesus. Now he's on Arsenal. He's going to have the run of the team. He's going to be like, oh, you can do all this other stuff that you weren't allowed to do.
I worry about it maybe from a winger's perspective versus a striker, because a striker is going to get chances, maybe less chances than he would have at City, or maybe more because they have a striker, right, and not
a striker at City sucks. Half the time you just you have to make runs.
Yeah, but
you
being
never
a
get
winger,
the ball.
You've got 74 guys playing the same position. You've got that orchestra feel, right? Even when you do play, what would you say you do here? So, yeah, I get that. I didn't love Chelsea's signing of Sterling. Try to say that 5 times fast.
You'd assume they didn't need him. You're like, well, he's just a 10% better Werner. Yeah,
exactly. He's just another winger who could stand there and be a schmuck.
They got rid of Werner, so that's good. He's gone.
Right. But so I mean, I think that's going back to the City argument though, and the orchestra analogy. I get what you're saying. And I actually hear it, but what I'm saying is that that whatever instrument is going to be fucking really out of tune for a pretty long time. Like, he's not just going to remember how he was at Liverpool 6 years ago or whatever it was, right? Like, so I think that, yes, does he still have that in the bag? Sure. But to bring him up earlier in the show, I think Dele Alli also? Yeah, technically.
No, his is gone. His is gone.
I know it is. I know it is. Even me.
What the thing that's sad is that they should have just put him in as a 9 and just do your thing. Like, just get your head on the ball.
For lack of a better answer, yeah, I guess you don't have
try anything.
There. Yeah. But also, that's a game you play against a shit Champions League side when you know you have an easy game on the weekend, that you don't try something stupid. You don't try something stupid, not that it is or isn't stupid. Try something different and crazy on the first day of the season, right? Like, against a team that, they're, as we said about Liverpool, this is 3 points you should have. I understand Goodison Park. It's 3 points you should have.
They never beat them in Goodison.
I know. I know in 10 years they said something like that. I was like, holy shit.
But
you know what? If you said that to me before last season, would that sound that crazy?
No.
Yeah, that's the point. That's how far Everton have fallen. Where you're like,
by the way, I don't think they'll get relegated. They're too.
I do. I think. Did I? No, I think that? No. Let's see.
No, they just made another signing. Tarkowski makes a difference. I think it won't. Who keeps them up? It's not going to be Frank Lampard because he's going to get fired.
No, and I was going to say we should start a new segment after next weekend's games called Hot Take Tuesday, and see like the first one's gonna be like Lampard's getting fired this weekend, like something stupid and ridiculous, like a headline, like a newspaper headline.
Yeah, I do want to go through some of the other teams and go through the number of scores because some of our favorite friends are out there. We have at home Leeds defeating Wanderers, Wolves. They win the XG battle, but that doesn't say much. I think Wolves were good. They did have Bamford. He sets up Aronson / not Aronson. It's an own goal for the win there. Looks like Podence and Hugh Wang, they score a goal. So it looks like Wang's going to be Wolves striker for now. Connor Cody is out there now in a back four. Yeah. So Connor Cody is actually going to Everton. So it's going to be Cody and Tarkowski.
And that's solid. That's a solid back.
You're not going anywhere. Now, you're not going top half, but you're not going down.
Fair. Okay. On that Hwang note, one thing is that it seemed, and again, I was just trying to extrapolate what I could. I did not get to see much of the game, a little bit of highlights. It seems like it might be his benefit and Pedro Neto's lack of action potentially. So something that's as a sample size this fucking big, but let's keep an eye on that as we go further for Wolves. That's Pedro Neto is supposed to be a big time player for them. He was back to healthy at the end of last year, and right at the end started to put in the goals again. But there was a lot of big expectations for him after a long summer, and
he led the team in shots. So
on Sunday he did.
Yep. So Neto and Podence both had 3 shots. So they probably on balance should have won this game. Podence did get the goal on a nice volley, but Leeds showed the fight you'd expect. It was more of a game that you'd expect them to draw. I don't like the complete rebuild of the defense. So Otto, Johnny's back in, Ain't Nori, no Bali, no Connor Cody. They're going with Nathan Collins, who they pulled up from.
You're scared for Wolves. You've got them at 17, and you have Leeds at 18. So that's
I don't like the plus on Sa. Sa already gave one back. Right? Last year, regression to the mean. He gives up. I mean, the fact that if a guy gives up a goal in a near post, it's an automatic. You blew it, man. It was a fucking laser beam from Rodrigo. Yeah. But he got his hand to it low. If you're going to give up a goal near post.
Baseball rules say if you get, leather on it, you should get it. So.
Yeah. Anyway, Aronson was great. I fucking love that dude. I'm excited for him to play. He's got good energy. He's got a good Leeds thing going. Like, I think within the concept of playing for Ellen Road, Aronson is just going to become a fucking hero. And then Bamford being that smooth middle-class goal scorer. He had a couple shots on target. So Leeds look good there.
Somebody here said they really like Patrick Bamford in their season preview.
That was you. I thought he would get injured again. Newcastle have an easy go. 2 fucking killer goals. Fabian Schär has his once-a-year laser beam from center back that he scores. He's like the best shooting fucking center back in the league.
Since Vincent Kompany, right?
Yeah. But he does it every other year. So I like where Newcastle is. What they have got to do is pick a fucking team and go after it. Like, be like, we are finishing ahead of Leicester, and keep that narrow focus on them. And when Leicester get behind them and they're 10 points clear, then they got to go, we are finishing ahead of fucking Manchester United, and really have that focus. Because I know that's how City did it. City saw Aston Villa, who were actually a pretty good team, and we're just like, we're taking your players, we're taking your spot, we're taking your fans, we're going after you. And I think that's how Newcastle have to be really laser focused. Like, identify someone in at the table and be like, we're destroying you.
Who's that team for you?
For Newcastle, for City, or for Newcastle?
Newcastle.
For Newcastle, it's Leicester. They should be we're gonna take Maddison off you even if we don't play him.
That feels like an attainable goal in what is still theoretically full year one, right?
Well, then I mean, if that's the theoretical, but I mean, I think that's really the spot that that's really the.
Well, where does that puts them in the top half? I think we can agree, right?
But then after that, it's United, right? Because let's just where teams are right now. Like
it's West Ham for me.
West Ham. West Ham.
The second
then
spot.
After that, you'd be like, we're gonna sign Declan Rice.
Yes. Yeah.
Or Bowen. Bowen feels like a fucking Newcastle player.
Oh, he does already,
right? He's just like, oh my god, we need him.
I like
because
that.
Almiron, like I'll take fucking Bowen over Almiron any day of the week, twice on Tuesday, and then that really hurts West Ham, and you step on them like a Mitrovic header over Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yeah. So that's how I think about it. And then Forest is a work in progress. I think we got to give them 10 games. Hopefully, Steve Cooper will be able to hang in there and really see how they do in the back half of the season.
This is going to sound dumb because I have them at 17. Is it possible to have a good year and still be relegated?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think it's easy, right? I think that's sort of an interesting.
You can easily have a good year and still be relegated. I think there's a team that was like Fulham. With Scott Parker.
They got the shit kicked out of them a lot.
Yeah, but the back half of it, we were all like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. They're turning it around. Right? So there's a heroic like had Leeds gone down last year, you would have felt like it was heroic, and they got lucky to stay up. They got that.
That's actually a good point. But we see them with the advantage of them having not been relegated, right? Whereas Everton last year, if Everton get relegated, you're like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Right. There's a noble way to go down.
There
right?
are. I think everything has to do with your expectations on day one and where Leeds and Everton and Wolves are, and Fulham. I'll add Fulham into this. And Forest.
I have a perfect example. Derby last year, they went down. They were excellent.
Wow,
but they had a 22-point deduction.
21 points. But yes, you're right. Technically, you're right. But my point is that I am rooting for Forest to stay up. I do not think that they will. Well, technically, I said I think they will. I don't. I want them to take Everton's spot, but if they finish 18th and they go down, they can hang their heads high and hold their heads high, whatever, and really get after the championship and yo-yo right back up. That's where I think is a realistic.
There's a lot of teams that think that way. The championship is fucking rough.
No, I know. But
they just spent $100 million on players.
No, I know they did, and I'm not saying What I'm saying is if you can't, like, Burnley blew it up. Burnley's only reason to watch last season was Max Cornet. They sold him. Burnley's
on
only
West Ham
for existence was their center backs. They got rid of them. So you're like, okay,
I love Cornet on West Ham. That's such a good place for him.
No, I know, but my point is, what is Burnley now? Burnley's in trouble.
Oh, they're done. They're cooked.
Yeah,
but they're completely changing the way they play. They could do that. They could blow it up. Because the way that they are playing is they're playing a complete, they're just throwing it out because the guys that they had were never going to be able to play the way company wants to play. So
I understand.
It's fine. Like, it's a complete change. They were doing what Palace did, where like all those Hodgkin guys, they're all gone.
Well, they just let them leave on a free, which is hilarious. But what I'm saying to Nottingham Forest is this, right?
We love you, baby.
Have a great year. I'm rooting for you. Laurent's rooting for you.
We are.
But know this, that if you go down and you do not succeed in avoiding the bottom three in the Premier League, stick it. Hang in there because you're going to be okay in the championship. You're going to come back. Put it this way. You will at worst be, unless you sell off every piece, you will at worst be in the promotion playoffs next season.
Yeah.
Coming back up to the Premier League in 2 full years. So with that in mind, know that going in. Give it everything you got this year, but don't sell the farm if it doesn't go your way. Because I think that there's a sustainable something here.
It's a good manager.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about another one of our friends that we love a lot, and that's Brentford, who now look like they feel like they have comebacks in them. They always have Ivan Toney. Even though, and we'll bundle these two together, even though Bournemouth got the win versus Villa, I still don't feel good about Bournemouth. They haven't done any moves yet. They got lucky because I don't know what the fuck Aston Villa are doing, but I know that Brentford have a fight in them. Like, they came back away down 2 goals. Now, Leicester yak fucking games constantly, but Ivan Toney showed something different. They have a guy who is going to play. I believe the goal scorer was with Josh Da Silva, who was one of their good players at the championship. He missed all of last season because he had a hip. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had those guys. So Da Silva comes in. He's almost like a new signing. He was there sort of growing into the team winger. Been at Brentford since he was 19, 2021. He's a 5-5, a 10-10 guy. And now he's going to be sort of growing into the Brentford side. So they have an extra dude to sort of say, hey, Mbeumo, if you fucking hit the post one more time, I'm going to punch you in the fucking face.
Bournemouth, listen, and yes, absolutely. Pure luck on that. And we have a lot more questions. Here's how you know it was a surprising win. We have a lot more questions about Villa than we know things about Bournemouth after that game.
Yeah.
So it's hold on a second. But to play devil's advocate, as you said about the Liverpool draw, you're only going to have so many trip ups and so much of a margin of error. Well, invert that argument. 3 points is 3 fucking points in the relegation.
They're going to go home laughing and be like, we got this. Yeah. We feel amazing.
And so if the number, we argued about the number last year for like 3 months, but we just kept saying we agreed with it, but we just kept moving the line back. So let's start high and move down this year. If the number is 42, right?
But that's high.
Shut up. If the number is 42, now you need 39. Right? Literally.
Exactly.
Like
exactly. Yeah.
I'm envisioning Major League when the Lou Brown
the pieces of
the dress, right?
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
So you got 3. So God bless you, Bournemouth. Go get 39 more. Do I think you're going to? Nope. But it's fun to have him back. I always loved the old Eddie Howe Bournemouth teams. So I enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, it's got and the thing is with Leicester, they don't have any new players. They're just sort of getting back their injured players. There's still Dewsbury Hall is an addition, a nice little player. They still have Ndidi. They're still working their way through. So I'm on a game behind. But what I was trying to talk about was Villa. Villa's got this Diego Carlos guy. They sort of have turmoil in terms of leadership. They sort of bench Mings and are just like, fuck off, you're out. Yeah. They're benching Ollie Watkins, which I think is a mistake, and trying to see what I don't think he knows what his best group is. There's a illogical kind of like, we have to play Coutinho no matter what. Yeah. And then I think there's a lot of pieces that I hope that Gerrard figures it out, but not playing Watkins is fucking weird to me.
Yeah.
Like really weird.
I actually hadn't seen that.
Now he did come on in the second half. We have this 5 sub. Right. We don't know what the 5 subs thing means.
Well, it only means something.
If there's a manager who's going to embrace it and be like, these are the 3. I'm using my front 3. They're going to run and press like mad, and every game we're switching out the same 3. No one's doing that yet.
It's either that or do that with 2 sets of wing backs, like you could see Conte do, right? Like
Conte would absolutely
they're doing all the running. Yes, it does fundamentally change the strategy from that, but what you need is 2 things. You need 4 bona fide Premier League fullbacks or 6, attackers, whoever you want. So maybe Chelsea, maybe you shouldn't stop buying attackers. I don't fucking know. But but you're not going to have that problem if you're in the bottom half of the table. Like we're sitting here.
But the thing is with Villa has the talent of a better team, and they're not deploying it correctly, right? Like they're trying to work in Leon Bailey. They're trying to work in Buendia. They got Boubacar Kamara. They've got guys, and you're like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, does Gerrard know what his group is? And I think that's a question that they have to figure out.
Not playing Buendia actually feels more egregious to me than Watkins, because at least you had Danny Ings. Right, you're not going to play Watkins on the right, so I get that one. Thinking, when did he come on? 66 minute, maybe a little late, but not much. Right, fine. But Kamara for 82 minutes.
Yeah, he's their big signing. He's one of these, a holding midfielder, whatever. That's what I mean. I don't know. I don't know if I trust Gerrard. I don't know if he's going to go. Anyway, we got to wrap this up. We're over an hour. Oh my God. All right,
let's get out of here.
That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Slayer and Laurent Cortines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network. I have 15 seconds. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show. 876